Wait a minute.
Hear this.
Birdie num num. Birdie num num. Birdie num num.
Check one, check two. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Birdie Num Num podcast. I am having a good week. I hope you are also having a good week. We have a nice open dialogue, you and I, every week on the Birdie Num Num podcast. I hope you guys are doing well. Sanjay Maniktala here. I'm trying a different angle on the videos, and every time I record, the lighting changes. It's like the sun is like, Sanjay, you took way too long to set that up for this podcast. And now, wow, man, I just got a haircut. I don't know if you guys can see it for the video watchers. And my wife says it sucks, but I kind of like it. But yeah, I think he could have done a better job. But what are you going to do? Anyways, ladies and gents, that's what happens when you go to Manjunath Gents Parlor as opposed to Bounce, where you spend 800 rupees on a haircut. And I made fun of that on a podcast. And there the light goes again. I made fun of that on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and Karma is a bitch, but she's never on time. And Karma is not a animate person, so that joke, Karma is a bitch, I feel is not offensive yet. But let's see what happens in this world. Now, guys, I want to talk to you this week about a message I got from a listener, a reader, somebody who messaged me on the IG, on the Instagram. And that topic for this week's episode is quitting a horrible job, quitting a terrible job, quitting a job that you hate, that you are crying in the corner about, that you don't understand. How did this happen? This is not what I expected. And I am just really pissed off. And somebody messaged me, and I'm not going to give away his or her name, but in a nutshell, they're working in a hospital and they are having a tough time with it. And anyone who has been in any hospital in India realizes doctors are overworked. Even the most five-star hospitals, they're underpaid. We treat doctors with a level of respect that I don't think they deserve. They deserve a much higher level of respect, is what I mean. Because here's the thing, in the West where I grew up, so I know stuff just because my parents had me there because I was lucky. No, like, here's the thing. A lot of us don't realize in America, the healthcare system sucks, but by the time you do see a doctor, you're like, whoa, it's like the wizard. Like, I had to pay $100 and a copay and this and that. So whatever the doctor says, you take it seriously and you listen to them. And even going to the dentist cost like $200 for me because we didn't have insurance growing up. So I would be like, yeah, I'm not going to mess around. But in India, it's so cheap to see a doctor. I mean, it's 150 rupees, 300, 500 rupees, whatever it is. So for the price of your lunch or less, you can see a doctor. And look, man, doctors, God bless them, but they're also trying to make money and survive like everybody is. So this person messages me and says, they're having a very tough time. And I apologize for the noise, guys. There's a kid who lives above me who was very loud, and I got to go up there. But being a real man, I'm going to make my wife do it. And basically, the issue is that, yeah, it's a crappy job. And like a lot of us who are in crappy jobs, whether it's in IT or medicine or you're studying something, when you finally get that, opportunity and then you realize it's not what you expected, your whole kind of ethos around it, your whole attitude changes and you want out of there. And let me tell you something, person, and to anyone who's in a crappy job and they really want to quit, you're probably fighting what your parents are going to say, the people who say, I told you so. You're probably fighting that, you've only been there a month or 6 months, or you're fighting your ego and society that says you can't handle something tough. And I agree with a lot of that. Okay. So I'll be honest, first of all, if you're in a crappy job and you want to get out of there, number one, there's a couple of hacks that you can do. Okay. Number one, ask yourself, is there an end in sight? Because if this is your life for a week, a month, a year, also very difficult. If that stuff is happening, it's not going to be easy, dude. In the long run, if you look back, because here's the thing, time is going to pass. So if you are in, like, I was once working at Singular Wireless, AT&T in Seattle with Accenture, and we were on a project and some data cleanup, data integration, all that stuff. And basically what ended up happening is chaos project. But long story short, I was working 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day for 2 months. And that made me the man who I am today. And yeah, I was like, this IT consulting is some BS. This is ridiculous. How could they put us in this project? I don't even know this tool. I don't even know where to get the data from. I don't even know who to talk to get access to the system is going to take 4 days. What do I do in the meantime? But where there's a will, there's a way. And I think anybody who's been in a crazy environment where it's a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of juggling things around, very quickly, you look back once you're finished, as the experienced self and the remembering self talks about in Daniel Kahneman's book, the Thinking Fast and Slow, which is back there somewhere. It's painful during it, whether you're talking about push ups or being at the gym, but when you're actually done, most people look back on a horrible experience like that and they're like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So if you are in something that is very difficult, that is very stressful, if there is an end in sight, number one, I would say hang on. And there's a hack that I always suggest people on their resumes. I always suggest for people to do on their resumes, which is at the very least, if you're not going to last a year, try to at least cross the boundary of the calendar change. For example, staying at a job from January until November of 2019 probably looks worse on a calendar than staying on a job from November 2019 to January 2020, because it kind of looks like you were there 2019 and 2020, if you know what I mean. And this is a simplified example, but if you're going to quit a job between 6 and 9 months, try at least to cross over that year threshold. So on your resume, if you kind of, frame it or format it right, you can use that 2019 to 2020 or 2018 to 2019 thing. Cause that's a fun little hack that most people, when they skim resumes, they skim it. Dude, skim something, look at somebody. I was in Thailand and I didn't understand a word of what people were scrolling on their phones, and I was sitting in the not sitting but standing in the subway. But when you don't speak the language, like if you're in China and you see people scrolling on their news feeds, like in a metro, you get a great insight into the human condition and how we consume content, because you can see, since you don't understand a word, where they're stopping. Is it an image? Is it a video? Is it an image of a person? Is it a head? Are they smiling? Are they not? And so you really understand how we quickly process information. And long story short, on your resume, I'm probably going to look at headings and bullet points. And if I see 2019 to 2020, I may not even pay attention to how many months you were there, but that might get you into the door for the future opportunity that you want. So, quick first suggestion if you're in a job you hate: number one, try to see, is there an end in sight? And number two, are you crossing over the year? Okay. And number three, which I kind of talked about, is this week on the Birdy podcast, most of these horrible experiences, I know it's cliche, but most of them, dude, there's so many people I know who start working in Bollywood and they think it's all exciting. And I'm a producer, I'm a stylist, I'm a makeup artist. And then you realize, crap, this is hard work. This is not what I thought it would be. This is getting up at 5 a.m. I don't get the selfies with the actors. And even if I did, that's literally 0.1% of the job, and they're assholes, or they're just busy. Acting is going to sound not condescending, but it's going to sound so chic or weird. But acting is a hard job. I am acting in a movie right now, and I'm just telling you, it's like nothing is what it seems. So, God, I'm so sorry this week, folks, on all the banging. I don't know if that's construction or a kid, but we can deal because this is India, and you understand. And I'm sure that guy also wants to quit his job if he is drilling into something. And if that's a kid, parents, please. I'm a married man with no kids, so my opinion obviously is very important. um, it's another thing I want to say about people who want to quit their job or their studies. Dude, engineering, you know how many times I wanted to quit? All the time. Like, I wanted to make video games. I didn't want to learn about for loops and ones and zeros and physics and math. Every computer science major, a good one at a good university, you pretty much have a minor in math with all the extra math classes they make you take. And when you're playing Call of Duty and you're like or a Fortnite or PUBG, PUBG is the game that I've heard a lot about, yet I don't know anything about because I'm in my 30s, so it doesn't really matter. But I should get on that. to understand what the youth are doing. Like when you start doing something and you realize it's not what it is, so many people fall by the wayside. But that's literally step one. All right. If you want to be a great computer programmer, you got to learn the ABCs of your programming language. All right. If you want to do stand up comedy or be a singer, you got to learn chords and falsettos and octaves, or I don't know what you singers do. But every single job has a really boring, gritty, push up, pull up sort of conditioning. I don't think Kobe Bryant or the cricket players that are all popular, the World Cup, I didn't even watch, but I mean, I heard it was great. Um, like all of them do stuff they hate, and you need to ask yourself if you want to quit your job. Uh, dude, like, I was talking to a friend, and she was working at one of these companies, and she quit at 23 after having been there from 22. And she was like, "Yeah, I just could never work at Citibank." Or I saw, you know, if you're going to do something better and something you have lined up, and, sure, fine. But there's a lot of people also, nobody ever tells you this, guys. There's a lot of people who follow their dreams or quit the soul crushing corporate life and then do nothing and waste away. So, um, don't be that person, and don't quit because something is hard. So many people quit computer science or engineering because that first year is difficult. But it's like learning a new language, dude. It's like freaking learning French or Spanish. You're gonna want to freaking blow your brains out with 800 flashcards, memorizing stuff. You think doctors? My wife is a doctor. She's studying for some exam right now. I don't want to know about cells and chemistry. I just want to know, that I can go to a doctor, but they have to do that stuff. And then it's there and they forget about it. And second point I want to make, first point was about having an end in sight and knowing you're going to learn from that stuff, and your resume hacks. Second point is every single job has really boring stuff. So even if you quit your field or quit working at that hospital, or if you quit working at that hospital and then you end up working for a government hospital, or you end up working in a big pharma company, you're probably going to also have a bunch of crap that you really hate doing. And my camera cut out right as I said big pharma. There's a conspiracy. Yeah, man. And the third point I want to make, if I think I'm on my third point, as I wrap up this short episode of the Birdy podcast, is oftentimes we get things in life, and number one, they're not what we expected, which we've talked about. But number two, they are what we expected, but the way they were presented kind of ruins the whole thing. I'll give you an example. Okay. All you've wanted your whole life or the whole year for your birthday was the iPhone, right? Or a car or something, what if you're lucky, and you finally get this latest gadget, this latest thing, or you finally get whatever you wanted, but it wasn't exactly what you wanted, and that kind of ruins the whole thing. Once I finally got a cell phone that I liked, and then or somebody gifted it to me. I don't remember, but it was like the wrong color. You know what I mean? And it's so stupid now. Or I got a brand new Xbox, but the box had like a small rip on it, and then in my head I just thought it was used. Like, dude, I was looking at Amazon Prime Day is happening right now, and I was looking at whey protein because Rome wasn't built in a day. Such a dick. And I still have this huge gut. Please, somebody listening, tell me. I have not drank in 3 months. I have not smoked in 2.5 months. I've not had sugar in 2.5 months. This paunch is not going away. I still eat carbs, but come on, dude. Like, what the hell? So this Amazon Prime thing, I was looking at all the whey protein. This is a small aside, but if you're in the gym listening, I'm sure you'll enjoy this. Why does even the most 5-star rated, or the biggest seller on Amazon, everyone in India thinks their whey protein is counterfeit? Worst product, fake, counterfeit, cheaters, scamsters. I'm like, I guess. I mean, these guys are saying you can validate the code on Optimum or whatever, but is somebody who's making fake Optimum whey protein, and then who's dumb enough to sell it on Amazon, especially, where people can go after you like anything. But here's the thing. So whether you got a bad whey protein box or you got a small dent you bought a brand new iPhone and then somebody carried it for you from America, to save the 10,000 bucks. And then the box has like a small dent on the corner because it got smushed in the suitcase. And now it just ruins the whole thing. Or the car you wanted, the seat colors weren't exactly right, but your dad was like, let's take this one because there's a good offer right now. But now just the seat cover is a little off. Or you read a bad review on that product. Of the 900 reviews, you read one about some weird hissing in those wireless headphones, and all that stuff ruins the whole thing. Nothing is what it seems. And don't let these little things ruin the whole experience for you. So if you are in a job, finally you got that job at the hospital, at the this, at the that, there is always going to be there is always going to be a downside. Life is not a perfect 5-star review of everything. Things are difficult. And you got to ask yourself, how much are you willing to take? But also, are you really, pardon my French, are you being a little bitch about these things? Guys and girls, are you being, stubborn? Are you being like, dude, that little rip in the box or that little air bubble on your screen protector that is like, these are all examples from my life, you guys, that's bothering you? Or your cell phone camera, the portrait mode is a little grainy. Is it defective? Is it not? But it's like nobody notices and it's all in your head. Whatever these things are, don't let them mess you up in the long term, because I promise you, they are so trivial and they don't make a difference. So if you're in a job that you hate, if you're studying something that you hate, if something is not what you thought it would be, if 1% of something is just ruining the whole experience, please don't do what I do. Don't let it ruin the big picture. Don't let the small picture ruin the big picture. So my advice to anybody, and this is probably not what you want to hear because your mom is saying, if you're unhappy, just don't do it. Or motivational people on Instagram or Facebook are like, never do something. Or if you follow your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. You know what I mean? Nah, man, I follow my passion and I work all the time. I love doing this podcast for you guys, but I hate editing it. I hate trying to market it online. It's growing. Thank you. Please rate, review. But I hate all the stuff that is not part of the actual creative process. Alicia was on this podcast sitting right here, and she was like, dude, people don't realize, even as an artist, half my day is invoicing. I'm not just drawing all day, la, 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 this is beautiful. Now I got to figure out dude, even the best movies are spending tons of money promoting, marketing, taxes, whatever the hell, right? So everyone's got to do it. But if you're in the space that you like and you're doing something you like and you're a techie who just hates all this Python, C++, but you want to design a killer website or make a good product or sell an app, you got to do it, bro. So I know we're kind of a soft society right now, but my advice, honestly, for most people, if you're in a crappy job, try to last a year or at least a calendar year. Then ask yourself, will I learn something from this? Will I be better for it? Even the Navy SEALs, the Army people, they all do crap that's really, really bad in the beginning. And some continue to do it. But as long as there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I think you will be fine. And nothing is what it seems, folks. In conclusion, my buddy, aside my friend Bopana, Corgi guy. Corgis love pork, by the way. It's so yum. So good. The Corgi pork is so good. That's my Donald Trump. He had bought this pair of shoes, right? This 3, 4, 5K pair of shoes from one of these Indian shops. And the guy, after 2 months, and fast fashion, you guys, right? The stuff the shoe has literally gone to crap after 2 months, a 5K pair of loafers or whatever. And he takes it back to the Bata or whatever shop. And the saleskeeper is like, sir, this shoe is car to carpet. I don't know why I find that so funny, but this shoe is car to carpet. That just makes me smile. And I hope it made you smile. I hope it made you guys smile today. But remember, everybody in life has to eat their vegetables, eat their broccoli, do the tough stuff, do the push-ups. And nobody in this universe will tell you that they are going to regret doing that, because that is who they are today, right? So trust the process. Trust that there's a point for everything. Trust to the doctor person when you are making your millions of dollars as a big fancy CEO of some big fancy hospital or saving lives or finding the cure, all that stuff about dealing with angry people in the ER or shouting. And I know in India this is sensitive because people lash out at doctors, and God bless you all who deal with that. But I'm sure, minus the doctor, I hope that person is okay who got injured. I know a lot of people who work in the ER. It's a thankless job and it's a tough job, but I know that they are stronger people as a result, and I'm hoping that has taught them also how to speak up to their in-laws, or speak up in their families, or speak up in society even, and take action and be a better person. So don't quit too early. Quit when it's right, and know when to quit. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate your guys' time. I'll see you next week.
Birdie num num. Birdie num num. A birdie num num.
That's